Greetings, I'm Bairnt and welcome to
One-Stop Co-op Shop.
Today we're going to be doing a playthrough of Nemesis Lockdown. We're going to be playing our two-player cooperative version. I'm going to be using two of the characters from Lockdown in this playthrough, so this is going to be really exciting. When I did my unboxing of the game, I asked the community which two they'd like to see, and there was a couple that got some pretty good votes, so those are the two we're going to use. Who are they? You will see very shortly. In this video, we are going to do a full setup, even though a lot of people may have already played the original Nemesis, and a lot of the same setup is similar to it, but I do want to go over everything in case people are coming into this brand new. So please bear with me during the setup for Lockdown, but then we are going to start our playthrough, and this is going to be amazing. If you're excited to see if our characters can make it through Lockdown, then I need you.
Meet me at the co-op shop.
Time you will hear.
This is super panned out view of the map. This is not how we're going to be playing at all. We're going to be down in the action, but this gives me the opportunity to explain how this board works. First off, each one of these is three different sections. We have section 1, 2, and 3, and they're all going to be powered using these separate power nodes here to denote whether or not they're in darkness or they actually have power. On top of that, there's an elevator that moves back and forth between all the different sections, and that has its own power. If you wish to not use the elevator, you can always use these stairwells here to get to the different sections. When we set this up, we're going to have 3 rooms readily available to us from the beginning. We have an isolation room, a backup power supply, and a repository. Those are going to be placed in rooms that do not have any of these type of Roman numerals. For example, the backup power supply is always going to be here. The isolation room is open and it's always going to be there, and our repository is always going to be right here. Those are some of the starting locations that you're going to be placing your characters. Some will be starting here, some will be starting here depending on who you've chosen to play with. Or of course in the, well, at least we've decided to play with. When you actually play the game, you're going to be using draft cards to determine the order of how you draft and who you're going to be able to get. It's a really cool system that makes you think about what kind of character you want to play based on potentially the objectives you have. Now that you've placed down the rooms you know are going to be out, the next thing we have to do is put all the random ones out. Very similar to the original Nemesis, we're going to put our level 1s onto these Roman numeral 1s here. And we're going to put the Roman numeral 2s are going to be our level 2 type rooms. When all is said and done here, you will be going through all your level 1 rooms, but not all your level 2s. So it gives you some replay value as you play through the game. Another thing to note is over here, we're going to be placing down our deck of cards that has to do with using the computers, and you'll see how that works during the playthrough. Also, we have our cargo sending system right down here. We'll be able to place a person here if we decide to try to get off in that way. And we're also be placing those tokens over here. You'll see how that goes during the playthrough. This is our time tracker. It's very similar to the original Nemesis, but there's a new added, I guess, a new hiccup, and that's the power of the station. And as we move through this grid here, or this down the time track I should say, you're going to be turning the power on and off in certain sections of this game, and that's going to affect not only how the intruders work but also some of the event cards. There's so many different ways that it can affect you. It's super cool. I can hardly wait for you to see it. On top of that, now there's also contingency tokens. We're going to be placing a pool of them right here, and we're going to be placing one up there. And even though we might actually win the game, the contingency that the corporation has taken might not let us win, so we'll see how that all plays. So we have not only intruders against us, but the corporations against us, time's against us, everything's against us. That's one of the beauties of Nemesis. It's so cool. So I'm going to get the board all set up. We're going to put down all of our different rooms, and on top of that, we'll be placing down, just like in the original one, a bunch of our exploration tokens. You will not be using all of them when you place them out onto the game board. Some of them will be returned to the game box, giving you, again, more replay value. We'll be placing down this cool looking rover right here. This is, again, one way off the station. We can try to get it over to there. there. If you use an action card to try to do that, you can get over there, and that's one of the ways you can try to save yourself. Hopefully the contingency is not kill the person in the rover. I don't even know if that's one of them, but I know that's not going to be a good one if we actually have it and we're trying to do that. That's going to be it from this part of the board. I'm going to go now deeper into the setup, but panned in a lot closer. So do be aware that as I'm talking about one certain section of the board, if I'm talking about power, for example, I'm going to be placing a token here, but I've already placed them in the other places as well, along with the elevator, and I'll explain which ones are which. But that way you get an idea of how cool this looks. And you know what? Let's not do that. I'm just going to set it all up, and you're going to see it in action right now. There we go. Most of it's already set up. I've got all the rooms out there. A few things we have left to do. We have these contingency tokens here. I'm just going to give them a little truffle shuffle here. Place them down in the middle of the board right here. Then we are going to place one all the way up here. This is going to be the hidden one that we'll never know about until the end. Of course, if we can reveal all those, then we know what that last one is because there's only going to be one left. Next, we're going to take our power tokens, give them a good little truffle shuffle here, and we'll start by placing one of them up here, and we'll just go down, and the last one goes in the elevator. So our first one's right here. It's number 4. It's going to be placed right here. Number 1 and 2 are going to be powered up, and 3 and 4 are going to be powered down. So we're going to see what our next one is. Oh, good. Power 2 is there, and power 1 is here. Now, if we start here, we're going to be in darkness. But our elevator is also not working, so we'll have to try to get power to that as well. Otherwise, we're going to have to use these stairwells. And the stairwells, no matter how much light is in your actual section, those are always in darkness, which is bad news city. I've placed down our CSS markers along the side of the track, and then we have our token here that we're going to place down. This token is either inactive, it's like got the inactive side or the active side. The inactive side, of course, is what we're going to start it on, and if we can ever give power from the backup power supply on, we'll flip this token, and that gives us a lot more light to be able to work with in the building. As this time tracker moves down, it's going to be taking power away from the station. If we get power up and running, less power is going to be drained as we keep going. And of course, there'll be different ways to gain power and lose power based on events or what our characters can do. So that's cool. Our board is all set up. Let's go check out what else we need to do. We'll move to set up the Night Stalker's laboratory here. Before we do, I do want you to be aware there are underground and overland type exploration tokens, so do be aware you want to use these while placing them on top of all those different rooms. These are used on the other side of the map, and I'm sure I'll do a playthrough of it sometime soon where you can see some of those in action. Let's start here with our laboratory. There's a lot of cool things going on. First off, I dig this new thing they're doing where you get knowledge, and as you gain knowledge, you'll be able to expose weaknesses to the Night Stalkers that you're fighting against. You start with 5 eggs in the nest, and we're going to draw 3 random Night Stalker event weaknesses here. We'll draw this one here, and we'll put that one there. Now, we do get to start with one of these exposed, and that's going to be this one right here. So we already have a vulnerability to fire. When the Night Stalker suffers an injury from a flamethrower or thermite charge, it suffers 1 additional injury, so we want to start hitting with fire. We can't take advantage of this weakness, though, until we get to 3 knowledge. See how that transfers down? And the only way to get 5 and 8 unlocked and usable is if we not only get to 5, we have to have this able to be unlocked by using one of those objects like a corpse token, a intruder corpse token, or an egg. If we can get this egg to a laboratory, we can use that to expose the weakness and use it. If you cannot use multiple eggs to expose weaknesses, you can only use 1 per weakness thing. So I'd have to use an egg and maybe a corpse token or a intruder corpse token. And even if you're at 8, you still can't use this unless you've actually brought the right component here to be able to be analyzed. The next step is to develop our Nemesis intruder bag. We're going to grab the blank token, the queen token. We're also going to grab 1 creeper. And on top of that, we're going to grab 4 larvae and 3 adults. So we'll grab these 4 larva tokens here. 1, 2, there we go, 3, 4 go in there, and then we get 3 adults. We also are going to place into this bag 1 adult for every character we're playing with. We have 2 characters, so there we go. We're going to shake our bag up perfectly just like that. We'll place it right down there on the laboratory. If we ever need to move our tokens around or anything, we can just move the bag, but I like to keep it right there, so I got everything that has to do with Intruder right there. Speaking of everything, we also have our event deck, Night Stalker attacks, serious wounds, and these are contamination cards. And we have the red revealer that we might have to scan to see if we're infected at some point. Do be aware that there are multiple event decks, so make sure you grab the one that is used for the Night Stalkers when playing Nemesis if you decide to use the Night Stalkers. If you want to use any of the other factions, make sure you have their event deck and their attack deck. You're also going to want to make sure you have everything you're going to need handy next to you. For example, some of your ammo tokens. You have your damage dials here. We have noise tokens. We have these tokens here that are going to note if we have slime or if we sent a signal. We have our fire and our malfunction tokens. Some of these you see here were from the stretch goals that are used for the campaign if you wish to play it. This is the cardboard version of our rover here that we're not going to use. We also have our corpse tokens, our intruder corpse tokens, our egg tokens here. We have some doors, but we'll be using the ones from the stretch goals that look like this that can be broken off, which is pretty awesome. Just be aware, you want to make sure you have these all handy so when you need them, you are readily able to grab them. The next thing we have to do is set up our, I guess you could call them heroes, maybe survivors, but this is already a survivor, so we'll just go with heroes. We're going to set up our heroes. We're going to take our pass cards here, give them a little truffle shuffle, even though there's only two. She's going to get one and she's going to get one. All this is doing is showing me who's going to be going first in the game. And it will be our survivor. Our survivor will be first, and this is one of the ones that got the most votes from our unboxing video. I did paint her up a little bit. I always like to kind of paint the survivors up in this, or I shouldn't say survivors since they are, I always call them survivors. But I do like to paint up the characters in this game because they look really cool painted up like this. And they also come with these neat little rings you can put on their bases, but I paint the bases, and I paint them usually predominantly in the color of what the actual cards are. So this is a very red type character, so I've painted a majority of her red. That's the kind of the way I do it. So we're going to take our card here. We also is going to take this. This is a character draft card. Normally when you play this, you're going to gain an objective card. Then after that, or two I should say, two objective cards, and then you're going to get a draft card. You're going to get two of these. You can decide who you want to be based on some of the objectives that might be easier for you to be able to complete based on how the character performs. But we didn't do anything like that. We're doing it all completely by whatever the community vote. So we're just going to be playing with the survivor, but you are still going to need this because it shows you where your starting room is going to be. On top of that, your starting knowledge, your starting item, and your quest item. This also shows who else could be this type of character, the soldier and the convict. You're not supposed to play with multiples of the same type of character. So if you were playing with the soldier, another person could not be the convict or the survivor. That's just for balance purposes, but I'm not the one that's going to tell you you can't do it. Maybe it would be kind of cool to play with 3 red characters. That'd be kind of a neat little plan. So we do have her quest item right here. It's an assault rifle. We have to activate this in the repository, which is quite a long walk for her to get to, but who knows, we might get there. That'd be kind of cool. We are going to place her down in the isolation room, and she does start with 3 knowledge, so that does give her the ability to use that original weakness that comes out. So we're going to take her token and place it on the 3 on top of that laboratory area. Once all that's completed, you can get rid of this card. You don't need it anymore. We do get a couple other cards here. We get a Helper Night Stalker Encounter card that tells us everything we're going to have to worry about with the Night Stalker's encounters. On the back, it shows us how to do the bag development for the Night Stalker, so we'll keep this handy for our characters and for my references, so I hopefully don't make too many mistakes. This shows us what we need to make certain crafted items. We're going to gain one of these cards, and these are the different contingency tokens and the distant CSS tokens. So as they are revealed, you'll know which other ones are still out there in play that you might have to be worried about. For example, one of the contingency tokens is kill all who did not send the signal. CSS pods are always safe. So for example, if we haven't seen all of these removed yet, this could potentially be one of the contingency plans at the end. So you might want to get into a CSS pod or make sure you did not send the signal. And if you sent the signal, then you definitely don't want this one to be one of them. It's going to be just bad news for you. We're going to put that with our character as well. Every character does get a set of cards. We're going to place these down next to her. I'm going to shuffle these up, give it a quick truffle shuffle. We're not going to be drawing any cards yet, but do be aware that every character does have kind of an asymmetric deck, though half the deck is the same cards that everybody gets. The other half is based purely on how that character performs. I'm going to place this card right up here, and once we're done with our turns, we will go to passing our turn, and that'll be the end for our characters for that round until we get done doing all the steps, bringing us back to our next set of player actions. And here's the character that won the most votes out of everybody, and that's going to be the Lab Rat. Again, we've got her painted up here. Again, I've tried to do predominantly purple for her. That's the way she kind of is on her cards here. She has a lot of purple going for her. She is going to be the second player. That, of course, as we play, we'll be moving the first player token back and forth, and that's going to be found right here. We have this cool looking token we got from the Kickstarter stretch goals. We'll be giving that to the survivor. She gets to keep that. We also are going to take our draft card and take a look at our lab rat here. She, again, is going to start in the isolation room. So our characters do get to start together, which is pretty cool. And she also has that starting knowledge of 3. She doesn't start with any items. Neither of these people start in items. Would make kind of sense. They were in an isolation room when everything went to mass chaos. She has a quest item called the whale, and she can unlock this by going to the nest and perform a noise roll afterwards. So I'm going to have to activate this and then perform a noise roll in order to be able to gain access to her whale card. She also can't, so again, alternate characters are Scout and Bounty Hunter, so you can't use one of those with this character on the board, but again, it's up to you. I'm going to take her token here and place it down in the laboratory on the 3rd slot for the knowledge. So again, she has access to knowing that they are vulnerable to fire. And here's those rings I was talking about that you can place underneath your characters, but I paint all my characters up, so I don't actually need them. She has her action cards. We're going to give those a good old truffle shuffle here and place them down next to her right here. And I think that's going to be all for our characters. There's only one more thing we have to do, and we have to figure out what their objectives are. So every character in the solo co-op mode is going to gain an objective card. And in order to win, you have to complete all the objectives, and at least one person has to get out safely. So the objective for the lab rat is wake up call. I have to activate the alert procedure. Some facilities staff are blissfully unaware of what's going on. So we have to do our best to try to activate the alert procedure and then still survive inside of here. So we'll place this right up here with our pass card, and the one that our survivor is going to have to deal with is going to be insider knowledge. At least one character must finish the game with a larva on their character board or finish the game with knowledge 8 and send the signal. I need to provide some very personal knowledge of extraterrestrial threat. So we have one of 2 options on that one, which is pretty cool. Normally in this game, you'd draw 2 of these, and 2 of them, then you would only pick one once the first sign of an intruder happens. That's when you decide what your objective is, but that's not how it works for the solo co-op mode. Before I get a little ahead of myself, the solo mode, you would still draw 2 and then choose once the first one comes out. But during co-op, everybody has their own objective card. You only each get 1, and that is what you have to perform. Also, we get to grab one of the contingency tokens, and this becomes common knowledge for all of us. So we do have one, and it is kill all who did not send the signal. So that one is off the board. We can put this, I'll just put this right up here. She'll be the one gaining all those as we go, and I was stacking them right there. So if we look at our card, we do know that one of these is out of the contingency. So there is a chance that it's still going to be kill all who did not send the signal. CSS pods are always safe. Though, who knows, we might have something else up there because there are a whole ton of them right here that we have to deal with. So we're going to try to uncover the rest of those contingencies in order to figure out if we're going to be safe after we win this game. Because of course we're going to get out of this alive. We'll place both our survivor and our lab rat in the isolation room. When the time token on this slot reaches 8, the time track flipped this room tile. So when it gets to 8, we can flip this. And at that point, we're able to start locking ourselves in here if we decide that might be one of the ways we want to keep ourselves alive in this game. So we have our 2 characters there. Let's look at our actions and what we can do and grab our cards. So the first thing we do during our player phase is we're going to draw up to 5 action cards. So let's start with our survivor. We'll just take the top 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and see what we get. We have rest. So I can use for 0 action cards. I do have to pay this card, but I don't have to pay any other action cards in order to use this card. Also up here it denotes that this can't be used while I'm in combat. I'm able to scan all contamination cards in your hand and remove any uninfected cards. If any of the cards were infected, follow the infection procedures. And you'll see how that goes, hopefully not during the playthrough, but it might happen. We have obstinate. Draw 1 card for each serious wound you have. Also, I can discard one of my items to dress a serious wound. Again, can't be used in combat. We have repairs. I can discard a malfunction marker in a room you're in. This is going to cost not only this card, but another card as well, and this one does not. Then we have interruption. This is used mainly during the semi-co-op mode, but I can use these for any other type of actions, and you'll see how that works. Basically, I can discard this card to cancel an action performed by another player, so during co-op, that's probably not something you want to do. You can also use it to cancel the interruption that they're planning to use on you. Then we also have Desperate Attack. I get 1 contamination card and deal 2 injuries to a chosen intruder in the room you're in. Check the injury effect. If this intruder is still in the room you are in, it attacks you immediately. So it's like one final attempt to destroy an intruder. Hopefully you're able to do it. Those are her 5 cards. We'll grab our Lab Rat's 5 cards and see what she has got. She has Demolition. Now, her Demolition doesn't cost anything else. She can destroy a closed door in a corridor connected to a room you're in, or I can place a malfunction marker in the room you're in. And notice there is an or. That means you can't do it. You can do one or the other. You can't do both. She has Feel of the Dark. Discard this card during the event phase to ignore the in darkness effect of an event you're in. Now, we're in a powered area, so we're probably not going to use that too much for that. In darkness, discard this card during a surprise attack. After drawing an attack card to ignore its effect. That's really good. Now, of course, that has to be in darkness, which is too bad. I'm not in darkness. So maybe she wants to get into darkness. Search. I can reduce the item counter by 1, draw 2 item cards of the same color as the room you're in, and pick one and discard the other to the bottom of the deck. We have 2 searches, and we have her rest card as well. So that is what our Lab Rat has. Now let's talk about the actions. Here is our basic actions we can perform. We can get rid of 1 card to move 1 square, or I shouldn't say 1 square, move into another room. This is regardless of whether or not you're in combat. You can do that anytime. Now, of course, if you're in combat, you're going to take an attack. But if you're not in combat, you can just move. In combat, I can shoot or use a melee attack. I don't have any weapons right now, so I'm kind of at the mercy of my melee attacks right now. Out of combat, I can pick up heavy objects, trade, or craft items. For 2, I can use a careful movement, but I have to be out of combat. The difference between the 2 movements is this one, whenever you move to another room, you're going to roll a noise die, which is found right here. And you're going to place noise based on the roll. When you do a careful movement, you can place the noise token into one of the adjacent corridors, and you'll see how that works. Let's go take our first set of actions and start Nemesis Lockdown. Our survivor will now perform 2 actions of the listed actions I talked about earlier, or of course any of the ones on her card. She cannot only do 1. If she does only do 1 action, she will have to pass, and that'll be the end for entire turn until it comes back to the next player round after the event phase. But if she provides 2 actions, it would then pass to the Lab Rat. She would do 2 actions, and then it would come back, and if I want to, I could perform more. I'll show you how it works. Here we go. I'm going to grab my interruption card. I'm not going to use an interruption card. I'm going to use that card to pay for my movement, and I'm going to move. She wants to, I think, get her assault rifle up and running, so she wants to get to that repository as fast as she can. So one of the ways she can do it is to move this way down the board and use the elevator. That's probably going to be one of the faster ways, or she could try to go through our stairwells that are up there, but they're kind of dangerous, and we have the lights on where we are right now. So let's go ahead and move either to this room or this room. I think, let's see, this is a level 1 room, and this is a level 2 room. Ooh, I think we want to go to, let's go to the level 1 room, because some of the rooms that have to be with level 1 could potentially have that signal we're trying to send. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to flip over our card. We have found, what's this? Decon room. Perform a decontamination procedure. On top of that, notice right here it shows all 3 symbols for the different item decks we have available to us. This means that when you do a search action here, you can search for any of these type of items you want. So we'll place that right down here. We're going to reveal what is in this room. Oh no, she found a danger symbol and a 2. So we're going to take this room and rotate it to 2. And we'll place her back in here. Since she sadly found the danger symbol, we have to place noise in all the corridors. We'll place one right here, here, and also down here. These noise will affect an entire corridor. Even if you put down a door here, this would still be affecting all of the corridor adjacent to it. You're not going to put them on each side of a door if there ever is one. With that being her first action, she's going to have to do something else here, because I don't want to pass yet, because I've got a lot of cool things I want to get her to do. Also, I want to mention, since that did show the danger symbol, I did not have to roll the noise die. If you reveal a quiet one as well, you do not roll the noise die either. That's why I didn't roll it when I moved in here and revealed that particular token. Let's continue moving by using a rest action card and move over to this one right here. We're going to sneak right through this corridor here, and we'll see what our next room is. Hopefully it's not something terrible. We have found, what is this? The laboratory. We did find the laboratory. We can analyze objects here, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, we have to check to see what it is. Oh, no, it's broken, so I can't even check out any objects here because it's a busted piece of machinery here. We'll place a token right here indicating that this laboratory is busted. There are 2 items in this room, so we will rotate that to 2. And when we do any type of search actions, you just rotate these rooms down like that. Pretty simple and easy, fun little system. There can only be medical supplies in here, which kind of makes sense. Since I did not find a quiet token or a danger symbol, I will have to roll my dice and see what we get. We got a 4, so I'm going to be placing a noise token into our 4 corridor here, which also is a 3 corridor, which is pretty bad. So it's right where we want to try to go. So we might sketch back this way. But since I do have a repair card, we could use that to try to repair this room. But we'll have to do that on her next turn because she has performed her 2 actions. So we are going to move over to our lab rat at this point. Our lab rat's big objective here is to activate the alert procedure. So we're going to have to find that. It's going to be in one of these rooms. There's going to be a way to do that, to activate it. So we're going to start moving this way because we want to get to that backup power supply and hopefully get that going before it's too late. So we're going to move over to here by discarding one of our cards. I think we're going to discard our rest card. I don't need that card because, well, after all, I'm not going to be resting. I'm not needing to worry about contamination yet. We have found the surgery room, so we'll place that right here. We can perform surgery if we wish to. Oh, look at that. We found a quiet symbol. So not only is there 2 medical items in this room, it's super quiet. I don't have to worry about even rolling for noise this time. We'll do our next one. I think we're going to use that feel in the dark or feel of the dark. We're going to use this card to use another move, and we're going to move again over in that direction. So as you can see, we're getting close to our backup power supply. That's my plan here. We'll see if we can get there. We have found, what's this? The power generator. Stop auto destruct system or power a section. Oh my gosh, that's going to be really good too. Let's see what's happening in that room. Oh, that room's on fire. Oh no, it's on fire. That's terrible. I'm going to have to rotate this to 2 and I put a fire marker down. Now I do want you to be aware, if at any point you cannot place a fire marker onto the board because you've run out, or a malfunction marker at any time because you've run out, guess what? Yep, you lose the game. So many ways to lose. She's in a room with fire. That's bad news. There's 2 things here or 2 items here we could try looking for, but I don't know if you want to stick around in the fire. That's going to be bad news. Having performed both of our actions, we're going to end her turn, and we're going to gain a light wound because we're in a room with fire. If you ever end your turn in a room with fire, you gain a light wound. How about that? That's fantastic. Now, ending your turn is different from passing. Passing your turn is a different thing. It still will end your turn, but it ends your turn forever. I've just ended her turn using the 2 action cards, so we're going to move on to the next person's turn. Our survivor is going to use her repair card to repair this room. I need this room. This is a very important room for me. So I'm going to use that to be able to, I'm going to also use this card because I have to pay 1 more card in order to use the repair card. So I'm going to use this one to pay for its extra action there. And that's going to remove this token from there. And I'm now able to use that room for its room action. And I could also use the computer if I wish to perform a computer action. The computer action card deck always starts with the first card face up, and it is this one, Computer Action D. I can choose any of these I want to by using 1 card in a room with a computer that's not broken. So I can either open or close a door, I could peek at a chosen CSS token, or I can move the rover, which would help me if somebody's already taken it off to save themselves. It's going to be parked on the other side of the board, and I got to try to bring it back. That's her first action. Her second action, I think I'm not going to do another action. At this point, I am going to pass with her, so her turn is now passed. Meaning she's not going to be performing any other actions. We'll move over to our lab rat. Sadly, the lab rat's in an awesome place, but it's on fire. I would love to have her start searching here, but I don't think being in here when it's on fire is a good idea. So we are going to use one of our cards here to go ahead and move. But before we do, look at this. I already forgot to roll my noise when I walked into this room. We got a 3. So I'm going to have to place one of these noise tokens into the technical corridors. The technical corridors is a place that's adjacent to all different types of rooms with technical corridors. This is the only one that's actually in the camera shot right now, but I'll show you some more as we start moving around the board. We're going to move over here, playing my card, and now I'm going to roll for noise again. We've got a 2. So that means this one is going to be coming into this corridor over here. We now have that being our first turn to move. We're going to use our demolition card to do that. I don't know if I mentioned that. Our second action we're going to do is we are going to use both of these search cards, and since there's nothing we can search for on here, we're going to use our room action to use the backup power supply. This game comes with a fantastic rooms reference sheet. So right here I've used my 2 actions to restore power. When a character restores power to the facility, resolve all of the following. 1. Reset the power. Do not perform this step if 3 or more power tokens are on the active side. The 2 lowest numbered power tokens must be flipped to the blue side. All other power tokens are flipped to the red side. Then we get to rearrange the power tokens as we see fit on the board. Additionally, if the time token is inactive, which it is right now, it still has that red symbol, flip over the time token to the active side, showing that the power has been restored. So we've already have 1 and 2 are already active, so that's not something I can do, but I can switch some of these around. And I'm going to trade out the one that's on the elevator that's not working for one that is, because I want to be able to get the survivor over to that repository, and doing that, she needs to have the elevator active to bring it up and down. So that's what we're going to do there. The last thing it told me to do was flip this to the active side. If you notice on the board here, these red marks, and then you see one here that's blue and red, that is going to signify when power starts getting drained from this station. If it was in the inactive slot location, they would drain faster than if they're in the active slot, because now it's not going to drain until it goes past that mark right there. So we have restored power, which is going to help quite a bit, I hope. Our lab rat does not have any more cards, so she will also pass at this point. This brings us before the event phase. Our characters now get a chance to decide if they want to discard any amount of cards. The reason you might not want to discard cards is the amount of cards you have can prevent potential surprise attacks from the intruders if they actually appear on you. I'm not going to discard this card. I'm going to keep it. Is it going to be useful? I don't know, but it might save me if an intruder lands on me. The first thing we're going to do is launch any of the CSS tokens, and that's going to happen only if your time tracker moves past them, so we're not going to be doing that this time. We're then going to move our time token down to 14, and since it's activated, we don't have to worry about crossing any of these red lines. Now we get to remove noise. This is a cool new thing that's happening in Lockdown that doesn't happen in Nemesis, the original game. You're going to be removing noise tokens from every room that is not adjacent to a character inside powered up areas. So that means we're going to be removing the noise from these 2 sections right here. Of course, this is still connected here, and this is connected to her. This one is connected here. So really, we're only getting rid of 2 noise, but hey, getting rid of 2 noise is better than getting rid of no noise. And that's what happens in Nemesis. You gotta get rid of the noise. We don't ever get rid of the noise that is found inside the technical corridor, though. That one will always stay there unless it actually is removed due to an encounter. Next, we'll draw our event card, but before we do that, the intruders should attack and take fire damage, but since there aren't any out there, that part of the steps are not going to take place. So we'll just draw our event card and see what happens to us. We have found leaving the shell. Each character with a larva on their character board gets contaminated card and scans it. If it's infected, they die. Place a creeper in the room. Otherwise, place the contamination card in your discard pile. Each other character draws 4 cards from their deck and scans all drawn contamination cards. If they have at least 1 infected card, put a larva on their character board, discard all drawn cards. Wow. All right, so good news, we don't really have to do any of this. I do still have to draw the 4 cards because it is part of the game. I have to draw them even though we know we have nothing in there. Before we do that, though, I will mention what these are up here. This is how the intruders move around the board if they're not in combat with you. First off, you're going to look at the symbols here, and if you have anything on the board that matches these symbols, those particular intruders would then move down this corridor the next room in sequence. So you just move right down corridor 4 and place it there. If it is an unrevealed room, it sits in an unrevealed area. So that's going to be our event for this turn. Oh my gosh, that's an absolutely brutal event if I was later on in the game. Glad we got it now. So we're going to just draw 4 cards for each of our characters, and I believe we're then going to discard them. I don't think we get to keep the cards. It wouldn't make any sense. Each character draws 4 cards in their deck and scans all drawn contamination cards. Yep, all right. And then we put them in our discard pile. That's the deal. Okay, let's go draw our 4 cards and put them in the discard pile because, well, I know they're not contamination cards. The only thing left to do is do our intruder bag development. So we're going to reach into here, grab a token, and see what befalls our brave adventurers here. We have found an adult, so we're going to stick that back in here, and we're going to consult our card to show us exactly what we're going to have to do. So according to our card here, it says return the token to the intruder bag and perform a noise roll in order. And the order will be our first player token, and then it'll be the other player. So in this case, it's going to be the survivor and then the lab rat. Super happy fun times. We're going to roll for our survivor first. She got 3, which is right here. So we now are going to have our first encounter. The way you do that is you're going to remove all the noise markers around the room that you are going to have to deal with an encounter in. And then you're going to take your Nemesis bag. You're going to give it another big old shaky shake here. And you're going to draw a token out of it and see what poor thing was lurking in the darkness, well, I guess in the light, for her. Let's see what we have found. We have found a creeper. So there's a creeper in this room. So we're going to grab our creeper miniature. He is right here. We're going to place him right down there. Roar! He's coming after her. Now we have to reveal this token, and based on whether in the light or in the darkness, you're going to have to decide if this thing is going to be able to surprise attack you. Remember that card I saved? Good thing I did, because I needed to have at least 1 or more cards in order to not be surprised by this intruder, and we have one. We are going to still leave this with him like that. If he ever escapes into the technical corridors, he's going to go back in the bag, and we might be seeing him again. Hopefully not. Hopefully I can take this guy out. We'll see how it goes. Next, we're going to roll for our lab rat. Our lab rat is also going to roll for noise. She got a 2. Oh no, there's a 1 right there too. She's going to find something as well. This is not going as I was hoping. I didn't mind if the survivor did, but I really didn't want the lab rat to, because she doesn't have any other cards to protect her from an attack. Oh no, this is going to be bad news. What did she find? She found an adult, and she would have needed 3 cards anyway. So we'll put that token down right there, and we'll grab our adult. Let's grab this guy. He looks pretty awesome, doesn't he? That'd be nice. We want to find him in the daytime or the nighttime. We'll put him right there. Anytime is bad time for that thing. And now, since I wasn't able to prevent the surprise attack, we're going to draw our first Night Stalker attack card, and we're going to see what happens. Now we look down here. We do not see the symbol for an adult. The adult is just that S symbol. So since that symbol is not here, the attack does not happen, or at least that attack was blocked, or I was able to hide from this as he was coming out to surprise me. So technically, I guess he didn't surprise me, which is pretty awesome. Now, of course, we have intruders in the place. We don't have any items or weapons to fight them with, which is absolutely terrible. And we'll see what happens on the next turn. Moving into the next turn, we have to draw up to 5 cards. This character already has 1, so she's going to grab 1. Then we're going to take the rest of this deck, flip it upside down, give it a good old truffle shuffle, and we're going to grab ourselves 3 more cards. 1, 2, 3, bringing our total to 5. Let's see what she was able to get. Her search, distraction, and demolition. Now, distraction would be fantastic right now, but I don't have any items to use to distract that intruder. Our lab rat will also draw 5. She has 0, so she's going to grab that 1. Shuffle these up here a little bit, and we're going to draw 3. No, we're going to draw 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what we get. We got ourselves a search, rest, demolition, and we have our sensitive hearing card, which allows us to, I believe it's discard noise marker or place a noise marker in a corridor connecting your location. All right, well, that's not going to help too much. There's not too much noise around us right now. We'll also pass our first player token over to our lab rat, and she'll begin this round. For her first action, she is going to use her rest card to move over to this area over here. Now, since I left an area with an intruder, we're going to have to draw an intruder attack card against us. If there were multiple intruders here, we would have to draw one for each intruder on the square. There's only one, so we'll draw it and see what happens. We do have the adult here, so it says perched in the dark. If the character suffers 1 serious wound, If the character has 3 serious wounds, they die. Now that's only going to happen if it was in the dark area and we're not in the dark. So we're going to discard that, but we are going to take a serious wound. Let's draw our first serious wound and see what we have got. We got bleeding. Each time you pass in the player phase, your character suffers 1 light wound. Oh, that's terrible. All right, every time we pass. Oh no, so she's going to start taking damage. Oh, I don't know how much longer we're going to, we might not make it very far in this game. We now have moved over here and we have to perform a noise roll even though we were fleeing from this intruder here. And we got a 2. We'll place down a noise token right there in number 2, and that's going to be her first action. Her second action, she's going to use I think she's going to use her demolition card to call the elevator. It's a special action you can perform while standing next to one of the elevator squares. If the elevator has power and the character is not in combat, they may call the elevator for 1 card action and take the elevator token and place it next to the elevator room in their sector. So I'm going to grab the elevator from way up here and bring it down to where we are over here. And we're going to move some of this stuff around so we can get the elevator right where it's supposed to be. The reason I did that is hopefully I can get our survivor into this elevator. That's going to be our plan, because she needs to go get her gun and come back. I really want to take one of these guys out, and I can take that token then and bring it right to this laboratory. But sadly, since I don't have any weapons right now, I can't take on anything in this laboratory, which is really, really sad. That's the end of her 2 actions, so she's going to be done. I'm going to move over to our survivor. Our survivor does have 1 option. She does have desperate attack, and there is a chance that I could do 2 damage to this and kill it with those 2 damage, but it's pretty unlikely. I think what we're going to do instead is we're going to use our demolition card as well to move over to this location over here and hope we don't roll a 2. Let's see what's in this location. Hopefully it's something good we can use. Nope, not really. Vent controls, vent out. What I was really hoping for was some kind of military type icon up here so I could use it to try to find a weapon to use and I wouldn't have to go all the way up to that repository to get my gun loaded. This one does have a door that's going to slam down, and there is 1 item I could search for in this room. So we're going to take a door token here and place it in between these 2 rooms. That means if this intruder tries to move over here, it's going to break down this door before it actually gets to us. So we're kind of in at least somewhat of a safe place, or at least we think. Of course, I still have to roll my noise when I move over here. I could have done a careful move, meaning I could have spent 2 cards to move and I could have placed the token somewhere. Because right now, there's already a token in 2 and there's a token in 1. So unless I roll a 3 or 4, I'm going to probably find another encounter here. So we'll see how this goes. I got a 3, so that's actually really good for me. We'll place down another noise token, but this one will be right here in this corridor. And like I said, no matter what side it's on, even if it's separated by a door, it's still possessed inside that same corridor. That's her first action, was moving over here. Her second action, I kind of want to search for something, but I don't think there's going to be many weapons you can buy with the vent control room here, but I could get some of the items that would allow me to craft something. Potentially, if I could get like a flamethrower here, fire and a screwdriver, there's a chance that I could make a flamethrower and come back over here and kill these people. I think we're going to try to do that. We're going to use her second action to search, or should I move? Because she already brought the elevator down, which is kind of my plan, was to use the elevator to move her out of there. I think we're going to do that. We got a plan. We're going to use our distraction here. We're going to use that distraction, so I don't have any items, to move over here. And if I move to a space where there already is a character or an intruder, you don't roll for noise. So I'm not going to have to roll for noise here, and that's her 2 actions. We're going to move over to the lab rat again. Our lab rat has a plan. She's really going to try to help out our survivor here. She's going to use her search card this time, and we're going to use that to activate that elevator. Whenever you activate an elevator or try to use the elevator, you can then take your character and the elevator token and place them next to the elevator room in another section. You may choose to take any other character from the room you are in with you, only if they agree, and do not perform a noise roll afterwards. So this is kind of like a free move. I'm going to choose to take both of these people into the elevator and move them up. So long, Night Stalkers. We'll be coming back to see you later. And we're going to slide our elevator right up to Section 1. Now, Section 1 is not powered, so we're in darkness, which is kind of sad. but that's okay. We're going to, I think, move out here like we're supposed to. We don't have to remove any noise rolls. She has one more action if she wishes to perform it, and I think she will. She'll use her search to move. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to use her last search card to move. No, I'm going to use her sensitive hearing. I lied. We're going to use sensitive hearing to move. I know I'm moving a lot, but I have kind of a plan. We're going to move her down here and hope we don't find any more of those Night Stalkers because they're bad news. We have found the guard room. Here we go. This is awesome. I can find some military equipment in here. That's going to be great. Let's see what's in there. Please don't be... Oh no, and I just got rid of my sensitive hearing too. I should have used my search card, but I wanted to search in this room. We're going to place her in there. And then since we have that danger symbol, good news, we don't have to roll the die. The bad news is, of course, I have to place these tokens in every location around her. So we're going to put one here and here, and there already is one up in the technical corridors, which is this section right here. It's a little off camera. So I guess this isn't the greatest, but it could be a lot worse. We do have 3 things there, so we might be able to find something in there, which would be pretty cool. I'm going to use my token or character now. We're going to use our survivor. She's done her 2 actions. She's done. Our survivor is going to discard her search card to move into this room. She does not have to roll any type of noise roll because we're moving into a room with a character. For her second action, we're going to do another search. We're going to get rid of this search card to move over to here, and I have to roll a noise roll over there though, which could be pretty hazardous. Let's see how it goes here. Well, we got to put it actually so it's on the board over here. We got a 2. That's awesome. That means it's not going to affect us. Well, at least now. Just wait till after the event phase. I'm sure something will happen. But we're going to put that noise token right up there. That's her second action. She moved and moved. We'll move back over to the lab rat, and the lab rat is going to play her search card. Reduce the item counter by 1. Draw 2 item cards of the same color as the room you're in. Pick one and discard the others to the bottom of the deck. These are military cards. There's a good chance I might find a weapon in here. We'll see how this goes. I have found a prototype pistol. It's got 1 ammo. Well, it's better than nothing. You can reroll each of your combat roll you make with this weapon. Or I can get a flashlight. Energy 3. Discard 1 energy from the flashlight to use as an advantage die when shooting or to ignore the darkness effect for you. Or knowledge. 5. After drawing an intruder attack card, discard 1 energy from the flashlight to draw another intruder attack card, but I don't have knowledge 5 right now. I only have 3. I think we're going to go with the prototype pistol, and we're going to place this into one of her hands. Notice it has the heavy symbol, so it does have to go in either her left or right hand. She has to carry this. So we'll place it here next to her left hand, and it does come with at least 1 bullet. It says right here 1, 3, so it can have a maximum of 3, but it is starting with 1 when we found it. Being in the repository, I'm able to discard 1 card to activate our assault rifle. Activate this item in the repository. We now have an assault rifle. It comes fully loaded. Look at this. This is awesome. And each time you deal at least 1 injury, deal an additional injury. Oh, that's amazing. I did not expect it to be fully loaded. Oh, that energy rifle is going to be awesome. We'll use these 5 red energy cubes to represent the 5 ammo that this gun has. That is amazing. All of our characters now have to pass because we don't have any cards. Sadly, since we're passing, our bleeding is going to go off, so I'm going to gain a light wound. We're down to 2 light wounds. The next one, I'm going to gain another serious wound. She's in big trouble. We have to get her back to potentially surgery or some kind of medical supplies of some kind. That's what we have to do. At this point, we will move into the event step. I did not show this last time. I probably should have. We're going to check to see if we launch any CSS pods. Then we're going to move the time track and resolve any power thresholds we move past. Then we're going to noise removal. The intruder will attack, fire damage, will resolve an event card, and the intruder bag development will take place. For the purposes of speeding up this a little bit, there are none to launch. I will go ahead and move the time track. We'll remove the noise of any place that we're not around in light. The intruders aren't going to attack. There's no fire damage for them to take. And then we'll resolve an event card. So let's go ahead and start at the top, and we'll probably just move straight to the event after I move this time tracker. As you can see, our CSS is up here, so we're just going to move this down 1 square. We'll remove all the noise tokens from rooms that our character is not adjacent to in the light, and that's all this area down here. Since we're not there right now, we can remove it. We'll resolve our next event card and see what happens. We have short circuit. The first thing we look at is we do have an adult moving to corridor 4. We do not see our creeper here, so he will not be moving. We'll move them after I get done with short circuit. Place a fire marker in each explored room with a computer in sections with power. Remove this event from the game and then reshuffle the event deck, including the discard pile. I'll remove this card, and then we'll take this card from the bottom and shuffle all this back up because we have to, and I have to go put fire everywhere where there is a computer, where there is power, and I think there might only be one, and I think it's already got fire. Sadly, I was wrong. The only one that has a computer is a laboratory, and now it's on fire. That's where I need to go with all my stuff. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. We've got to find a way to get that fire marker off of that laboratory. One way we could have done it is with the vent control room. I know I haven't been explaining some of these as we're going, so I should probably start. This vent control room is really cool. It's a new type of one I haven't seen and wasn't very similar to anything in the other game. It says here that I can choose a room with a technical corridor entrance. The corridor is connected to the room you choose, must not contain a destroyed door. So I sadly can't do this one because there isn't a technical corridor adjacent, but I could choose this one since there are no destroyed doors adjacent to it. And what I would do is I would put a door down in each one of these areas connecting to that room. If at any of the doors to these corridors are not destroyed or opened before we all pass at the end of the turn, anything in that room, characters and intruders, would be killed inside that room. It's really cool. And you can do that to anything. I could do it to any room, any one that is connected to one of these technical corridors. So I could actually do it to surgery if I wanted to. I could slam all the doors shut and then vent anything in there. It's a really cool room. Now, sadly, it's not the laboratory. That would be really helpful. Now, the main reason I would want to do that is, of course, it also removes fire from there as well because you remove all the oxygen in the room. Some of the other rooms out here you see, for example, the laboratory we know we can use to do our researching. We can bring these things to there and learn from them. Surgery is going to help you remove some of the infected cards from your deck and things of that nature. And this decontaminant is really good for that as well. It can remove all of your infected cards. It can even remove larvae and slime from you as well. So there's some really cool rooms out here that I haven't been able to take advantage of. I've been sprinting over to this one, and I'm sprinting up to get my gun. But I think we might be coming back down here, and I got to try to find a way to get rid of this flame unit. Flame token. Maybe there's like a fire extinguisher somewhere we can find. The other thing we have to do is we have to move our adult down corridor 4. So it's right here. It's going to be moving over to this area where the elevator is. Oh no, so if I bring the elevator back, that thing's going to be standing right there waiting for us. It's like he's planning a surprise attack on us. But of course, he's already on the board, so they can't do surprise attacks if they're there already. The last thing we have to do before we move into our next turn is our intruder bag development. We're going to grab a token out of here. This could be really bad again. We'll see how it goes. But the good news is we have a gun now. We have found another adult in here. So we're going to put the adult back in there. And according to our card here, it's the encounter portion. Here is the intruder bag development. We are going to return the token to the intruder bag and perform a noise roll in order. So we'll start with our lab rat. We'll take our die and see what our lab rat rolls. A danger symbol. That's actually really good. You're going to place a noise token in every corridor adjacent to you. Of course, if there was an intruder in an adjacent room, they would come in and try to attack you. But since I already have a noise in absolutely everywhere around her, I don't have to worry about this spawning any type of intruders. We're going to roll for our survivor now and see what she gets. She also got a danger symbol, so I do have to place down another noise token, and we'll place it over here in corridor 1. But there already is one here and here, so I guess those rolls weren't too bad. We didn't spawn any intruders, but of course there's noise all around us now. At this point, our survivor will take the first player token and draw 5 cards because she doesn't have any. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is all the cards I have. We have our obstinate, where I can discard one of your items to dress a serious wound. Well, that's not going to help me. I can repair something. Rest, interruption, and vents. If you are in a room with a technical corridor entrance, you may move to a chosen explored room with a technical corridor entrance. Draw and resolve an attack card from the attack deck as an adult in darkness. She's not in any type of technical corridors right now, which is really too bad because that would have been a fun card to use to get all the way back down to that first area and hopefully start attacking some of these intruders. But sadly, that's not going to happen. We'll draw 5 cards here because no technical corridors next to her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She gets all 5 of hers. Feel of the dark. Discard this card during event phase to ignore an in darkness event effect. In darkness, discard this card during a surprise attack after drawing an attack card. Oh, that's going to be really good. She has her weird metabolism to discard slime and contamination cards, basic repair, her inconspicuous card, and she also has interruption. So she's got some really good cards as long as she stays in darkness. But we're going to start with our soldier this time. An option I have is I could use a card to move over here, then use our Technical Corridors card with that vent to bring ourselves back down to section SO3, and we could maybe start taking on some of these intruders with that super awesome gun I have. That's one option. Or I could maybe check out what this room is, and who knows, that might be good for us as well. There is a Technical Corridor there, but there's already 3 markers, one here and one in the Technical Corridors already that could potentially hurt us. So I think it is going to be wise to move back down here towards the guard room. So we're going to use our Obstinate card, since I don't have anything that this card is going to be used for, to use it to move over to here. And I don't have to worry about rolling noise because we already have our person here. And one thing I forgot to do was when we searched for our prototype pistol, I should have rotated that guard room. So there should only be 2 items left that we can find in there. The guard room does have an interesting ability. I can use 2 cards to allow myself to reduce the counter by 1 and take either a taser or an Enviro suit crafted item. Let's take a look at the Enviro suit. That might be our E-ticket here. Let's take a look. Our Enviro suit allows us to, if your character ignores rules for slime and fire damage, you can escape the facility without using the rover. That's actually really good. That's something I really need for our character, because then she could use the laboratory even though it's on fire. Let's do that. As a second action, I am going to use my interruption and my rest card. I think we're going to use those 2 cards. We're going to use these 2 to use the room action to allow ourselves to grab this EV suit. So now she has that. Also notice this is a big heavy item, so I do have to put that in one of my left or right hands. Even though she's wearing it, it's considered big and bulky, and she can only ever carry 2 of those kind of items. So she can't carry any more big items, which is kind of sad because the object that I need to pick up is going to be considered a heavy object. So I might need the help of my lab rat in order to get it to the laboratory. I might have to kill it, but she can get in the laboratory. I can try to work on it. So that's where we stand. That's her second action. She is done. We'll move over to the lab rat and see what our lab rat can do. What she's going to do is use her interruption card to move. She'll move over to where the elevator is yet again. And at this point, I have to roll a noise roll because there isn't somebody there. Let's see what we get. We have a 1. We'll place down a noise token in 1. Now, sadly, I was kind of dumb. I should have used the room action again. This actually has to go down to 1. I should have used that room action because I moved, because I could have grabbed EnviroSert for her as well, so she could have hung out in the laboratory. But sadly, I was a fool and didn't do it, and I should have done it. So she has 1 more action she can perform. If she doesn't, she will have to pass. I think we're going to move up here. I want to see what that room is. Though there is noise tokens everywhere, I have a plan. No, I don't have a plan. That's not a very good plan at all. I don't got any plans. No plan. I had no plan. Sadly, my plan should have been to bring an Enviro suit, but I didn't do that. I'm going to actually pass with her. We're going to stop using her. I have a plan. Let's see if this one's a better plan. It's probably not. I'm going to use a repairs card for my survivor. We're going to use this repairs card, and we're going to move over to where our lab rat is. At this point, she is also going to pass, I think. I don't know if this is going to be a good idea. But next turn, then, we could probably use this elevator to get down to where those other intruders are and try to take them out. So she will also pass, bringing us into the event phase. At this point, I could choose to discard any cards if I wish to. We're going to discard this basic repairs card. I'm going to keep 3 cards with her. Let's see how this goes. We'll start by seeing if we can launch any CSS tokens. We cannot. We'll move our time tracker up 1. Now notice we're getting to the point where I'm actually going to lose power here pretty soon. And once it crosses that threshold, I'm going to have to lose one of our 2 power sources. Interestingly, we're going to move down the track in the event phase to the point where we're going to have to deal with fire damage. And the people that deal with fire damage during the event phase are the intruders. This intruder is going to gain 1 damage due to the fire inside the laboratory. He's just kind of sitting there trying to figure out how to get out of here, and all he's doing is burning, which is pretty awesome. Since this took damage, I will be drawing a Night Stalker attack card to see if we were able to kill this with our fire. Nope. Up here it says that it would need 5 damage before it would be destroyed. This is a really cool system that it keeps on rotating this number based on the card you draw, so you're never sure if you actually have the kill shot that you need to take down one of these all-powerful intruders, which is a really cool system. You never know if it's worth shooting at something because you don't know how much life they have left. I think that's a really cool system. I love it a lot. We'll move to our event step and draw the next card. We have 4. It looks like the creepers and the adults are going to move down corridor 4, which is kind of sad, but that's okay. I'm going to place a noise marker in each corridor without a noise marker connected to a room with a character who has an undressed serious wound. Good news. That's not going to matter because there's noise tokens, I think. Oh no, I think there is a place we can put some noise. In darkness, though, I'm going to place an adult intruder in each room with a character who has an undressed serious wound and is not in combat. So that's super terrible, and we'll see why in just a second. Lastly, we'll be moving our adult alien back to 4. Then we'll move this one down 4 too, but it hits this door. So it's going to remain in that room, which is good news for us. It's going to stay on fire. And we're going to destroy the door. These doors come apart. They're pretty awesome to show that now that door is destroyed. So it now can freely move if it wants to back and forth across that area. Well, and anybody can now. That event card would have been super bad. I'm going to have to place a token there because I do have an undressed serious wound, and I'll have to place an adult intruder in each room too. But I've been waiting for that moment. I left a lot of cards in my lab rat's hand because she has Feel the Dark. Discard during the event phase to ignore the in-darkness effect of an event for you. So I'm going to prevent that from happening. I am not going to have this adult intruder be placed in the room with the lab rat because she's the one with the undressed serious wound. So that worked out really well. Every time you think something's awesome in this game, something bad happens as well. I forgot about my bleeding card that I have to be taking advantage of. I don't know why I'm taking advantage of it. I have to deal with it, I should say. I have to take a serious wound because every time I pass, I have to suffer a light wound until we get this dressed. So our next serious wound is knee. The cost of your first movement, including escape actions in the player's first turn in the round, is 2. The cost of the careful movement action is still 2. So it looks like she'll be taking careful movement at the beginning of each of her turns. I gotta address both those serious ones. They're both terrible. Absolutely terrible things. But I do have, 2 cards. We're going to shuffle up our deck, and we're going to get 3 new cards. She is now going to be our first player. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what she was able to get a hold of. She got a demolition, a rest, and a sensitive hearing, which is going to be allowing me to discard a noise marker from a chosen corridor I'm connected with or place a noise token. So she's got some really cool ways to be able to manipulate that event deck and this noise deck. She's pretty awesome if she wasn't so banged up. Meanwhile, our survivor has seen all this already play out and seen what happens when people get all banged up, they get all dead. So we're going to shuffle these up and draw 4 more cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what we have found. We found obstinate, repairs, interruption, and search. I was really hoping for that last potential devastating attack she can do because I might need it, but we'll see how this goes. We'll start, let's see here. I think we have to start with our lab rat, and she's going to probably use that elevator again. She will discard her demolition card to activate the elevator. Yet that is not a move, so I don't have to spend 2 cards. So our elevator is going to come sliding all the way back down to here with our friendly neighborhood characters on it and replace them there. And I do not roll a noise roll for that according to the rules. We'll continue on with her second action, and I think she's going to help maybe try to take, I want to try to take this guy out. But in order to do that, I have to go in there and take a shot, and then I'm going to take damage from fire. She does not have to take the damage from fire, which is pretty awesome. This is kind of tough. I don't know really how I'm supposed to do this. Oh, I could maybe, she's got search. She's got a search card. She could maybe search this for some things, but of course she doesn't have it with her right now. I don't have the card right now. Oh my gosh. Or I could just take out this guy and then carry the corpse to here. Or I could go to surgery and maybe we could start working on maybe healing her a little bit. Never mind. I remembered surgery is mainly used to try to deal with contamination cards and larvae that you have. So I'm not going to be able to heal any wounds over there, which is too bad. Let's see. Oh man, she's got one more action. I got to figure out something to do with her. I'm going to try something a little off the rails here. It's probably not a good plan. We're going to see what happens here. I'm going to get rid of my weird metabolism and my rest, which allows me to move. Remember, my first move, I have to use 2 cards. She needs to find some way to heal herself. I'm going to send her this way. She's going to go into this stairwell. She'll have to roll noise there, and we'll see where the noise token is placed. It's placed in 1, so I'm going to put it right there, which is totally fine. That's not going to affect any of our characters right now. Well, right now. That's her second action. She is done. Our soldier is going to start by using her interruption card to move to here. At this point, there is 1 item left in this room. She is going to use her search action to check it out and see what she finds. We'll tick that down to 0, grab 2 cards off of our item deck, and hopefully they'll be pretty good. We have found clothes, discard a slime marker, or dress a serious wound. Oh no, I need her to come back. Come back here, I found something for you. Tool belt. Discard a malfunction marker in the room you are in, or open or close 1 door to a corridor I'm going to keep this. The clothes I think are going to be very good. Not to mention it does have this symbol up here that I could maybe sometime down the line use to make a flamethrower. Of course, there's my other symbol right there, but we're going to discard that one. Now, this does not have a heavy symbol, so I can carry as many of those guys as I want. Our lab rat is going to use her sensitive hearing card to discard a noise marker from the chosen corridor connected to the room you're in. I'm going to choose this one right here, removing that token, and that's going to be the end of her turn. At this point, I'm going to pass with her and see what happens to her in the next set of rounds. Sadly, she's no longer with the soldier. She's kind of going off on her own because remember, her deal is she wants to try to activate the alert procedure, which is found in S02. It's a place I didn't point out when I did the original setup. It is right here. Notice there's not a tile there. That's where you can send the alert procedures. It's called the alert room, which is kind of funny because it sends the alert procedure. We just need to try to get her there and send it. Moving back down here, I am going to use my vents card this time to move over here. And I forgot to do a noise roll when I moved into this room. Let's see what we get. We've got a 3, so I have to put a noise token right here. I forgot to do that. That was my fault. We'll move her over here. I don't have to do a noise roll now because I'm in a room with an intruder. And for my second action, I'm going to use my repairs card to shoot this guy. I'm going to take 1 ammo and attempt to actually damage this guy. The way this works is you're going to take your die and roll it. If the symbol matches the enemy you're fighting or higher, you're going to do damage. So a miss is a miss. A creeper would be a hit since I'm fighting a creeper, but if I was fighting an adult, it would be a miss. Fighting against an adult, that would hit the adult and the creeper, or a larva. That would not hit a queen or a breeder, but these will hit anything. And that's the die you use when you're in darkness. And we're not in darkness, we're in the light, so we get to use the advantage die, which is pretty sweet. It's got hits for the normal alien, or the normal intruder, the creeper. It also has these special hits too. So if I discard a card, I can do 1 damage, or I can do 2 damage, or I can do 1 damage and discard a card to do a 2nd damage. So there's a lot of possibilities with this die. Let's roll it up and see how we do. We got a total of 1, and I could discard a card to do another damage. And I also have a thing on my assault rifle that says each time you deal at least 1 injury, deal 1 additional injury. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to discard the last card I have. It is my obstinate card to do a total of 3 damage. So he's taken 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. At this point, we are going to draw an intruder attack card and see if we have killed him. Oh no, it had 5. Oh, no, that's terrible. I really thought 4 would get him. Okay, I have nothing else I can do about this. I'm just going to get attacked by him during the event phase. Oh, that's terrible. Oh well, that's the way it goes. I thought 4 would have done it. Oh no. Our soldier at this point will have to now go ahead and pass, and we'll move into the event phase. The first thing we have to do is gain a serious or light wound here on our lab rat. Of course, this should have happened when she actually passed. I keep forgetting to do that, but we do remember it, so that's good. We'll not be firing any CSSs off, but I am moving past one of our threshold points here, so I have to deplete the power in this system, starting with the one with the highest number. Sadly, I put the elevator as 1 and this as 2. Again, looking back, hindsight 2020, I should have made that number 1 and this number 2. This is going to now lose power, so none of our sections have power, but don't worry, our elevator can keep going up and down. So sadly, now our soldier is caught in the darkness. At this point, we'll continue down our event steps here. We'll remove noise. Well, there's no place now that's lit except for the elevator, so we're not going to be removing any noise anytime soon. The intruders will attack, which does happen before the fire damage. I was really hoping that I would be able to start the guy on fire and hopefully kill him before he actually attacked us, but that's not the case. We'll draw our intruder attack card and see what he does to our brave survivor. We do have the creeper symbol here, so I am going to get cut. The character is going to suffer 1 light wound and gain a contamination card. And look at this. I am now in darkness, so the character is going to suffer an additional light wounds. That's 2 light wounds and a contamination card just because I couldn't get a 4. There's the 4 right there. We're going to continue on here. And it says now he's going to take his fire damage. So he's going to go to 5. And this could probably be the end for him. First, we'll take our 2 light wounds and we'll gain our contamination card. They all look exactly the same except for what is here. This we don't know about until we check our red revealer. We'll place it into our discard pile and it's going to kind of go up our hand. I can't use it to perform actions, but if I have a lot of contamination cards, it's harder for them to surprise me, which is kind of good, but I would rather keep on going and doing stuff than have to be stuck with a bunch of contamination cards in my hand. We'll have to scan these at some point to find out if we are infected or not and potentially lose the game based on too many contamination cards. Now let's see if that creeper is toast. He is... No, he's going to move. Oh, that's awesome. He's moving. He's going to move based on whatever this card is right here. He's going to move down 3. So he is going to move this way, back into the vent room. So I got to chase him back over there in order to kill him and bring him back over here, which is absolutely hilarious. This game is so fun. He's over there now. Wow, of all the cards he drew the one that moved him. Oh, that's amazing. All right, that I think is going to be the end of the event phase. We're going to have... No, it's not. That's just all the stuff we had to do. We now are going to resolve an event card, and then we're going to... Intruder development bag step is going to happen next. Oh my gosh, we can't get any worse. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Our event that we drew for this round is going to be Panic. Each character with no action cards on hand discards 2 ammo. If they do not have enough ammo, they discard 1 of their items. If I'm in the darkness, the effect of this card also applies to each character with action cards in hand. Wow. It does get worse. And we're going to move our adult all the way through corridor 4. Our adult will move down over here again, waiting, thinking the elevator brought something to him, but it's not there anymore. Oh, joke's on you. I'm right up there. I bet you'll probably find me pretty soon. We'll see how it goes. The worst part of the whole deal is I have to discard 2 tokens, or 2 of my ammo from this card, and 1 ammo from my gun up there. And since I was only able to discard 1 from the lab rat's pistol, not 2, I have to discard an item. This is the only item she has. Oh my gosh, she has no way to protect herself again. And she's walking into no man's land up there. At this point, we will do our intruder bag development. So I'll shake up my bag here a little bit and draw a token out of it. Hopefully it's not a mean, evil token. Let's see what we have found. We have found another adult, so we are going to do noise rolls for both of our characters. We'll start with our survivor. We'll roll it up. She got a 4. Oh no, this is going to go away. We're going to draw into our bag and see if we find something that wants to kill us. Oh, absolutely amazing. Come to kill this little creeper. And he tricked me. And he made this other creature that's in there surprise me. Oh my gosh, it's the queen. The queen has jumped out and killed. Oh no, I've seen this happen before. Here she is in all her glory. She is out on the board now. Oh my gosh, this thing is right here. He was waiting in the laboratory for me. This thing tricked me. Oh my gosh, that's absolutely awesome. So now I've got a queen here in the room that I need to start learning all the knowledge from. Something tells me that I might be going for my other objective on that card. I might try to just have a larva attached to me, and then that might be the only thing. 'Cause I don't think I'm going to be getting my 8 knowledge with the queen sitting in the laboratory. Absolutely awesome. We'll also roll for our lab rat as well. I should have actually rolled her first because she is the first player, but that's okay. Well, she's also going to find something because that's the technical corridors, and there's already a noise token in there. Let's see what she found. Now, of course, she could have found the queen, but that's okay. We're doing just fine here. We're not doing fine. Not doing fine at all. She found the blank token. Whoa, that's fantastic. That means that I'm going to have to return the token to the intruder bag and add one adult intruder token to the intruder bag. So I'm going to take this adult and plop it right into that bag, meaning I have more chances for adults, but I don't have to worry about any aliens out here, or intruders. But of course, she could have drawn the queen, but that's okay. We got everything under control. I love how I keep saying things are under control. They are not under control. Oh, I forgot about the surprise attack the queen did. Her token has a 4 and 4, so there's absolutely no way I was ever going to survive not getting a surprise attack from that queen. Let's see what our queen does to us. It's going to blood chase. The character suffers a light wound and gets a slime marker. If the character was attacked because of a escape action and has an undressed serious wound, the intruder follows them. Okay, that's not the case. So I'm just going to get a light wound and slime, which is pretty sad. The light wound will drop me into a serious wound. So now she has her first serious wound, and it is guts. Each time you pass in the player phase, your character gets 1 contamination card. Oh my gosh, that's pretty tragic. We'll remove that token, but I'm going to place it right back down there on the slime marker. That brings us to the end of the event phase. Finally, lots of bad things happen. I get to draw 5 cards. That's a good thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do I got? Probably that desperate attack in here. Rest, search, distraction. Distraction. Oh, I could throw something. What do I got to throw? I don't want to throw any of those things. Desperate attack or demolition. All right, we'll see what we can do about that. Also, I'll be gaining the first player token. Our lab rat is going to grab, I think it's 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what we get. We've got a search, fear, feel the dark, basic repairs, and interruption. All right, she has her inconspicuous card. I'll hopefully be able to use that at some point. With 2 bullets left in my gun, I don't think I can take on a queen. We're going to use our rest card to run. We are going to run from that queen. It's probably not the best. We're going to run straight down into the decontam room, and I am going to get an attack from the alien there. Let's see what we get. We got another cut from the queen. It says the character suffers 1 light wound and gets a contamination card, and if the character will suffer an additional light wound if it's in darkness, and it is. So I have taken 2 light wounds and a contamination card. We'll place our token right there to signify 2 light wounds, and we'll put our contamination card into our discard pile. We're not out of the woods yet. I now have to roll my noise die for running over here. We got a 3, so we'll place a noise token in between these 2 corridors right there. For my next action, since I ran my first action, the second one I am going to search. We're going to search the green deck. I'm going to search for medical supplies, hopefully being able to dress one of my serious wounds, though I do have clothes that can do it. But since I'm here, why don't we give it a shot? We're going to spin that down to 1. We're going to look. We have found, what's this? An antiseptic. Remove 1 contamination card from your hand. Or I've got a med kit. Dress 1 serious wound or heal 1 serious wound. Okay, this is pretty awesome that I got this, but notice the flame on that one. And I've got this token here. I wonder what we can make with all of these neat things. The flame plus a medical one allows us to use a neutralizer. I did need a screwdriver for any of the other ones, so these aren't really going to matter too much. So we are going to grab our med kit to dress a serious wound or heal 1 dressed serious wound. That'll be the way to go. I know this sounds strange, but I actually want to keep my contamination cards because I need a larva now, because I know I'm not getting the one where I have to actually get all that knowledge because their queen's in the place. It's not going to be good. Our lab rat will move up 1, and the card she's going to do that is going to be her interruption and her basic repairs card. Now remember, she has to pay 2 in order to move for the first time each turn. Then she's going to use nothing because she has to roll her noise die first. Let's see what she got. She got a 1. We'll place a noise token right up here in corridor 1 and 2. Now she can do something else she wants to. I think I'd like to move 1 more space over to this. But if I do, I'm getting rid of 2 really good cards. I'm going to get rid of my inconspicuous card, which is probably a terrible thing to do. But I'm going to move over to this one right here and see what it is. We haven't seen a room in a while. We have found, what's this? Oh, we found the nest. The character who explored the nest gains 1 knowledge and takes 1 egg. That's actually awesome in a way. Oh, let's see what happens to the nest. The nest is malfunctioning and it has 2 items. The nest will never have any items in it. And the nest can never have a malfunction token on it. It can have a fire token on it, but not a malfunction token. We'll move her over to there. We'll roll up her noise die and see what we get. We got a 3. We'll place some noise right here in this corridor. Our soldier is left with 3 cards. I maybe should use that distraction, but that's okay. 3 cards. I have Desperate Attack, Demolitions, and Distraction. I really want to use some of these to help heal her. I think we're going to use this one, and we're going to use both these. We're going to use both of these to dress a serious wound and to get rid of my slime. Get rid of slime. We're going to dress our serious wound by flipping the card over so I no longer have to deal with that. And we're going to use 2 cards to do that. We're going to use Distraction, and we're going to use our Demolition card, leaving with only our Desperate Attack left. At this point, our lab rat is going to pass. She's going to gain a light wound, which is too bad because of this bleeding card. We got to get her away to dress her serious wounds. We're still not going to be launching any CSS yet, but I am going to be launching one after this because our token will then move off that. We've completed the launch CSS and moved the time track. There is no noise to remove. The intruders are not going to attack. There is fire damage. Our queen is standing in a fire room, so she's going to take 1 damage. And this game does come with dials that actually are bigger numbers to represent the queen and the breeders. When you go to check for damage on the queen and breeders, you're actually going to draw 2 cards, and you're going to see if you're able to take them out. So if you thought 1 was hard enough, because I can barely take this guy out, it's only been drawing 1 card, I can't kill him. Imagine 2. We're going to turn this to a 1. She's taken 1 damage because of the fire. We'll draw 2 attack cards and see if that's enough to kill her. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be. We have a 5, and we have, oh, she's going to move. All right, let's see where she goes. Who knows? She might get out of here. She might get away from the, well, she's probably going to move away from the fire because there's nobody else to go. She's going to move down number 3. So we'll take our queen and move it over here with our other creeper token. She's just kind of saving all her friends here. We'll move it over there, and we'll move this one to right here. There is still a chance that she might move back because during the event step, these are all going to potentially move. Let's reveal our card and see what happens. We have, what is this? Kick Stopper. Flip the power token in the elevator to its inactive side. Place a malfunction marker in all elevator rooms. Remove this event from the game and reshuffle event deck, including the discard pile. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing card. I can't believe that even happened. And then we have adults, breeders, and queens are going to move 2 and 4. Our elevator now has no power. Nothing in this place has power. Unbelievable. And I have to place a malfunction token in all of these corridors. That's going to be 3 of them, which is pretty deadly. If this would have been farther on down the game and I was worried about losing to these malfunction tokens, that would have really killed you. That's 3 malfunction tokens you're placing down there. I am going to discard this from the game and shuffle up my deck. On top of that, I have to move my queen and the regular intruders 2, 4. I believe that means they're going to move down 2 and then move down 4. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below. So if we look here, 2, then 4 is going to put him right there in the room with fire. They always like to be going back and forth between this laboratory. It's absolutely out of control. She's going to move 2, then 4 up to here. She's going to take her dial and her token with her. The reason you keep the tokens on the board is because if there was ever a moment where, say, they were to move 1, they would move into the technical corridors, they would lose all damage that they had done to them, and this token would go right back into the bag. That's why you keep the tokens on the guys like that, because they could actually jump out of the game and come back at a different time, which is a really cool mechanic. I really like how that works. With that step done, we'll go to our development bag here and see if we can draw something that's not an adult. Maybe that would be good. We found a larva. That's kind of cool. We're going to take this larva. We're going to discard this larva according to our card here. And we're going to be adding in 1 adult intruder into the bag. So that gives us some reprieve from rolling any kind of noise rolls. But we are going to be dropping another adult into that bag. Before we move into our next set of players' turn, we are going to stop for now. I'm having an absolute blast, again, returning to Nemesis, and Lockdown is no joke. This is an awesome game, super exciting. I'm loving these 2 new characters. I like the fact we had to actually go get an assault rifle, and we have an enviro suit that's really awesome. She's got some pretty neat cards that I've got to take more advantage of. Sadly, we found a few bad guys, mainly the queen that came out and tried to attack her, but she's doing okay. She got her wound dressed, and we're continuing on. Our lab rat, on the other hand, has a lot going on for her, but she can work really well in darkness. So hopefully coming back in the next video, she'll be able to dress some of those wounds and continue on her mission to try to activate the alert phase, alert procedure. This is super cool. I'm hoping you're enjoying the playthrough. If you are, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when the next part of this playthrough comes out. Please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. Have you had some great experiences in lockdown already? Or have they all been ended in pain and misery? And how do you ever keep all the power on? I need to keep trying to keep on the power, and sadly those intruders keep walking around all my power areas, so it's hard for me to get these power places back online. It's super cool though. I love all the new rooms and all the new things that are going on in this game. Again, thank you so much for watching, and if you're excited to see if our survivor and our lab rat can continue their womp throughout lockdown and hopefully complete their objectives, then I need you.
Meet me at the co-op shop.